Today, our topic involves being on lead at trick two. Your partner led a low card and you took the trick. And the question of the hour is, do I automatically return my partner's lead? Or is there something else I need to be doing? You know, from the beginning, we're all taught when partner leads on opening, return your partner's lead unless you have a really good excuse not to. What are the excuses for not returning your partner's lead? Well, obviously, if you don't have any more of them, that's a pretty good excuse. The only other excuse that you have is that you died at the table. Since I hope most of you didn't die at the table, the only excuse is you don't have any cards in his suit anymore, or even for leading your partner's suit on opening lead. If your partner has bid something, giving you a hint as to where he has values and length, then you probably really want to be a good partner and lead his suit. You know, maybe you have ace little, and that doesn't look like a very good lead because your partner doesn't promise you the king when he bids a suit. Remember that. He doesn't promise you anything except that he has the required number of points and the required number of cards in the suit. So those are things to think about. But the thing we're going to think about today is, all right, my partner led a suit and I took the trick. Should I return his lead or should I not? This pertains very directly on the question of how we're going to defend this hand. Are we going to defend passively or are we going to defend aggressively? I think most of you will remember that previously I've said most of the time you're going to be defending passively because that's just the nature of most hands. You should defend passively, but there are several examples when an aggressive defense is called for, and when that's called for, you better get after it and get your tricks right now, because there's a real big danger that any winners that you might have have to be taken while the declarer still has cards in the suit. And if he has a place to park his losers in any suits, then you have to get them before he can get rid of those losers. So with that in mind, let's take a look at this first one here. You're sitting east here, and the auction started one spade by south. North gave partner a limit raise, and south bid the game. The opening lead was the 2 of clubs. You can figure that's low from 3 or 4 because this is a standard lead. You and your partner are using standard leads. And you can see the dummy here. North is the dummy. Notice he has 11 flat points, but he has the required 4 spades, and he has 11 points. This is a perfect 3-spade call. So declarer ducks. He doesn't play the ace. So East wins the queen. Notice the queen and not the king. Why is this important? Well, now your partner knows that the declarer doesn't have the king. He doesn't have it, the dummy doesn't have it, and declarer doesn't have it, or he'd have taken that queen with the king. So right away, that lets your partner and and it's possible declarer doesn't know yet who has the king because West might have underled the king, right? Now, I don't know about you, but leading low like this implies that West has an honor. It's not the ace, the king, or the queen, is it? This is a suit contract, so if he'd had both the jack and the 10, he'd have led the jack. So I'm 100% certain he doesn't have both of them. He has either the jack or the 10, and it doesn't look to me to be particularly profitable for me to return a club. But if I do that, what am I going to lead? What am I going to lead here? So do we want to underlead the king of trumps? Does anybody think that's a good idea? Do we want just to lead out the ace of hearts? Very often when we have just begun to play, we like to jump up and take all of our tricks that we have. But notice that queen of hearts in the dummy. Aces are meant to capture kings and queens. So leading out that ace of hearts just makes life easy for the declarer. So that doesn't seem like a particularly good idea. Leading a club is only going to give a trick to the declarer. If we lead low, well, partner's going to have to sacrifice his honor. It looks to me like the clubs are divided 4-3-3-3 around the table. The problem is if declarer has the jack and my partner has the 10, my leading the king is not going to let my partner win a trick. If I knew for sure he had the jack, that might be a good thing, but I don't know that. I don't know which one he has. And it's entirely possible that that my partner led from 3, like jack third. That is very low on the choices of opening leads, but he may not have had another suitable card to lead. He may only have 3 of them, and declarer may have 4. That's not outside the realm of possibility. So as I look at the clubs, I'm thinking, if I try to take another club trick right now, I think I might just be helping the declarer, because it's pretty obvious that since I can see the top 3 honors in the suit, that my partner doesn't have one of those. So the only honor he could have is either the jack or the 10. So what do you guys think? What is the least bad return here? Anybody have a thought?
Diamond, maybe.
Oh,
It's
well,
not going to hurt you.
which one are you going to lead, Patty?
I'd probably leave the top 10.
Yes, you have a sequence. So I think leading anything other than the 10 of diamonds is just too dangerous, because I think this hand needs to be defended passively. That means don't give away any tricks that you don't have to. And I think returning my partner's lead here might be setting up a second club trick for the declarer. I would like to make him lead the second round. He doesn't know where the king of clubs is. So let's make him work to develop a second trick in the club suit. Leading out the ace of hearts, well, there's no particular reason to think your partner has the king of hearts, is there? And with that honor in the dummy, you want to keep that ace over the honor. And under leading the king of trumps, I mean, you've got the king 10. You might accidentally be able to develop a second trick with the king or with the 10, depending on what your partner's holding in the suit is. So I typically don't underlead the king of trumps when I'm returning a lead, just simply because if declarer probably has the ace, and I'm going to get finessed. If I lead the 8 or the 10 of spades, declarer could let that ride around to the jack. So, to my mind, when I look at this dummy, I'm reminded of what Eddie Cantor says about dummies. I don't know how many of you have read any of his works on defense, but he's the defensive guru, without question. He has 3 names for dummies: L, S, and D. The L stands for long suit. Does the dummy have a long suit that can be set up and run for tricks? If it does, you better get your tricks and get them now, because any losers that the declarer has are going to go away on that long suit as soon as it's set up, assuming it's not already set up. The next one is S. and that stands for short. Does the dummy have shortness? If so, then declarer is going to try to rough out any losers he has in the dummy's short suit. I mean, that's the way we're taught from the beginning. If you have shortness in a suit in the dummy, it's advantageous to use the trumps in the dummy, the short trump hand, to take care of those losers. That's the way you add to your trick total, by roughing in the short trump hand. Well, that's not the case here, is it? We don't have a long suit and we don't have a short suit in that dummy. And that means it falls into the third category. The D stands for dead. Very often that refers to a dummy that doesn't have very many high card points in it, which is not necessarily the case here, but it means there's no length, no side suit shortness. And when that happens, that means that you play passively. You play passively. If you lead the 10 of diamonds and the declarer plays the queen and your partner has to play the king, and then it's taken by the ace, well, you still have the 9 and the 8 left. You have a really strong possibility of being able to control the third round of the suit. And yes, I know defending passively means you don't break new suits. This is an exception to that rule because continuing clubs is too dangerous. Leading the ace of hearts or even a small heart is dangerous. And certainly finessing your king of trumps is dangerous. So the 10 of diamonds, while not perfect in that we have to make a switch, is the safest lead that you can make. Even if you finesse partner's honor, you have the 9 and 8 behind it. That's the beauty of a sequence. With those first two examples of dummies, the long suit in the dummy and the short suit in the dummy, very often, well, as I said, you defend aggressively when there's a long suit in the dummy. When there's a short suit, you lead a trump. And if that were the case, even if I have to underlead my honor, I am going to lead a trump if there's a shortness in the dummy. It's right to do. You have to do that when it's right to do it. And when it looks like the declarer is going to try to get some tricks by trumping in the short trump hand, then it doesn't matter if you have an honor that you have to underlead. When it's right to do it, you just do it. And hope that you can cut down on the number of roughs to the point where the declarer cannot make his contract. So this is a dead dummy, which means we don't have to be aggressive. We don't have to continue with the clubs. We know partner isn't short. It's not likely at all that this 2 is a singleton, simply because that would be only 7 of them that you could see, and that would mean that declarer would have 6 clubs. On this auction, that just is not highly likely. So in this example here, the 10 of diamonds is the safest choice you have. Does everybody understand? Everybody see that? It's a switch, which we often say not to do, but when it's right to do it, you just do it. Ella, do you have your hand up?
Yes, I have a quick question. Would you say again, if you play aggressive, if there's a short suit?
No, well, you play aggressively if there's a long suit in the dummy that is either set up or within one trick of being set up. Say the ace just has to be driven out, or maybe you have to take a finesse for the king. And it's got 5 or 6 cards in it. Then you have to defend aggressively. When there's shortness in the dummy, that generally indicates that you want to put a trump on the table. It may not be obvious from the auction that a trump lead is indicated, but if you've won the first trick, it's not too late to make the switch to the trump if that's what's indicated. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
You bet. Let's try number 2 here. Now, South opens a weak 2 spades and North bids 4 spades. So we know North's going to have a pretty good hand, right? Because South has advertised that he has fewer than 10 high card points. So your partner leads the Queen of Clubs. As is standard here, when your partner leads the Queen of Clubs and you don't see the king in the dummy, we all know who has the king, don't we? Because partner wouldn't lead the queen from king, queen. And that's why those of you who tend to lead low cards from sequences really mess things up for your partner. When you're on lead and you have a sequence, you lead the top card in the sequence. So right away, East knows that Declare has the king of clubs, and he also knows, because he has 6 spades, that there's a possibility that that king could be singleton. Much as I hate to give him a trick with the king of clubs, I would really hate it if that king turned out to be singleton and I didn't play my ace. That would just be, oh, talk about hanging my head. I would feel terrible if that happened. So East wins the ace. This is standard procedure. Now, which card do you think he should return? Shall we return a club and just let the declarer have his king? Or what do we think? How are we going to defeat this thing? Look at that dummy. That's a very nice dummy. It's pretty obvious that we're only going to get one club trick, isn't it? Because declarer is going to get his king of clubs here eventually. So what are we going to do? How are we going to get tricks? Is this a dummy with a suit that scares us? Obviously, there is some shortness, but it's not extreme shortness. But there are 4 trumps in the dummy. Can we take care of trumps by leading trumps? Probably not. I mean, after all, what do we know about the distribution of the spades here? First off, how many spades does your partner have? How many spades does West have?
0.
0. That's exactly right. South has 6, North has 4, and you have 3. Declare's not going to be happy that he has to draw 3 rounds of trumps, but you've got the 5, the 3, and the 2. You know, what's the big deal? They're just nuisance trumps is what they are. So right away, we know Declare's going to have to draw 3 rounds of trumps, which he doesn't know yet. Does it look like that a heart lead would be right?
Nope.
Why not?
You're setting up the heart for.
That's right. I think that heart suit's pretty intimidating there in the dummy. My partner may have the ace of hearts. In fact, I hope he does. It's possible that the declarer has it, but he has the king and queen of spades, and he has the king of clubs. That's all he's required to have, right? He doesn't have to have anything else. So I'm hoping my partner has the ace of hearts. So if I lead a heart here, I'm just doing the declarer's work for him, aren't I? So what to do? Where can we get some more tricks? Where could we do it? How are we going to defeat this contract? Anybody have a thought?
6 of diamonds.
I think that's an excellent idea. I think that is an excellent idea. You have to hope that your partner has the queen to force the ace. Then, when declarer tries to set up the heart suit, your partner will absolutely know not to return a club, but that you would like a diamond return. And that diamond return now has the jack 3 in the dummy and the king 10 in the east hand. Talk about sitting in the catbird seat. If you get the ace of clubs, the ace of hearts, and 2 diamond tricks, this contract goes down, doesn't it? Right? And if you just return a club so the declarer can take his king, go about the business of driving out the ace of hearts, well, you'll probably end up getting a trick with the king of diamonds, but you need 2 tricks from diamonds. So the key thing here is that you need for your partner to have the queen of diamonds. Is it possible he can have the queen of diamonds? Absolutely. Is it guaranteed? No, because declarer could have the queen of diamonds and still fall within that 10-point limit. We know he has the king of clubs. We know he has the king and queen of spades. It's entirely possible he could have it, and if he does, you're never beating that contract. You're never beating it. The only chance to beat it is if your partner has the queen of diamonds to force the ace for you. Then when he gets in with the ace of hearts, we're 99.9% sure that he has it, just from thinking about it, thinking about the bidding, thinking about how many points that south hand shows, and looking at the dummy in your hand and figuring out how the points have to lie around the table, that we're sure, virtually certain, that partner has the ace of hearts. Once you have led a low diamond, signifying that you have an honor, if he doesn't return a diamond to you, well, probably the declarer will take the king of clubs before he does anything else. But if not, your partner knows that you don't have the king, and he knows he doesn't have the king, and it's not in the dummy. I mean, he'll be able to figure out that there's no point in leading a club, that you do not have the king of clubs. If you did, you'd have taken the first trick with the king, right? Or maybe you'd have signaled with a high card to encourage your partner to continue. He knows that you don't have the ace and king both because you put the ace on the queen. And people do that, defenders do that to try to prevent the declarer from getting a trick with a singleton king. So once he's there, he can see those hearts in the dummy. He can see that the trumps have been drawn. That really only leaves one logical conclusion, and that's a diamond. And without the switch to a diamond at trick 2, you're not going to be able to defeat the contract. And how do I know to do that? I can see the king, queen, jack, and 10 of hearts in the dummy. We know that there are 6 spades and at least 2 clubs in the declarer's hand. That's 8 of the 13 spaces. He can't possibly have 4 hearts as well. I mean, I suppose he could possibly, and in that case, he'll just go up with the ace of diamonds, and because he'll have a singleton diamond, he'll have to, well, yeah, if he has 6 spades, 4 hearts, and 2 clubs, he has a singleton diamond. But that hand, holding 10 points, 6 spades, and a singleton, really has too much playing strength in it to open at 2 spades. I'd open that hand 1 spade, but that's my personal philosophy. As I'm sitting there thinking about it, and I'm trying to put myself in my partner's shoes, you know, half this battle is giving your partner, if you can see the way to do it, and you need your partner to be in on it, then you need to make things very clear for partner the best you can. And you can do that by leading the 6 of diamonds. That is, leading the 6 of diamonds into the ace jack in the dummy. You think, what in the world am I doing? This just doesn't look right at all. But notice if you lead your king to try to set up the queen for your partner, then declarer gets a trick with the jack. You have to lead low from the king in order to develop 2 diamond tricks. So put the 6 of diamonds on the table, cross your fingers, and hope it works, because that's the only way you're going to be able to beat this. Is this clear as mud? sort of clear as mud, maybe a little bit. This is this kind of thinking takes a while to develop. I mean, we're taught to interpret the opening lead and then just blindly return it. But once that's what good players are doing when they win a trick and they sit back and think for a minute. It's always a good idea, even when the declarer's making his plan, for the defenders to make their plan. These folks are in a game contract. You have 7 points. That means that your partner probably has about 7 points. We've already figured out that he most likely has the ace of hearts. Does that leave room for the queen of diamonds? You bet it does. You bet it does. So
We're pretty sure our partner has the ace of heart, right? Because South has a 6 spade, so they have the king and the queen's 5 points, and they have the king of club. It says 8 points. If he has the ace, he has 12 points. He cannot open 2 hearts.
that's right. So your partner has to have the ace of hearts. Exactly right. This is part of the whole idea of counting as well. Once you start interpreting the opening lead and remembering the bidding here is really key. You can't separate those 2 parts of the game from each other. If you want to be a good defender, you have to remember the bidding. And if you want to be a good declarer, you have to remember the bidding. If you want to be a good dummy, you don't have to remember anything, obviously. But in this case, switching to the 6 of diamonds is the winning call. So, yes, Ella.
When you're counting points and you have 11 or less, are you supposed to count any shortness in those 11 points? Or to take you over 11 in order to open at the 2 level or 3 level?
I don't open a preemptive hand with 11 points ever. Because if I have 11 points in a 6-card suit, that's a hand worth 13 points and I'm opening 1. I have a bid and a built-in rebid. So don't preempt with more than 10 high card points in your hand.
Okay, if you have 10 or fewer high card points, do you count a void or a singleton?
Well, I would not open a weak 2 with a void, but with a singleton, no, I don't count shortness points. We don't count shortness points when we're thinking about opening. You don't ever count anything but length points because you're announcing to your partner here that, hey, if we play this hand, we have to play it in spades. That's another reason that South doesn't have 4 hearts. If he has 4 hearts, he has a second suit available to be the trump suit. I would, a 6-4 trump suit isn't bad. But if that 6-card suit is not the trump suit, you can get a couple of discards with it if you need to and play the 4-4 fit. We've had some discussions about why a 4-4 fit is superior. Yeah, obviously having 10 trumps between you sounds like it would be better than 4, but if you need discards, that long suit in declarer's hand can provide them. But having said that, I never count shortness when I'm getting ready to open because that may be in my partner's suit. Is shortness in my partner's suit an advantage? Anybody think that? It's not. You don't ever, even the dummy doesn't add dummy points until a fit has been established. And I never add points for shortness when I'm thinking about opening. I may say, well, my hand has a little extra playing strength, depending on what my partner responds. And this gets back to Patty's request for hand evaluation. If I open a spade and I have a club void or a heart void, let's say, and my partner responds 2 hearts, the value of my hand has just tanked because I have no cards at all in my partner's best suit. All of a sudden, the value of my hand isn't what I thought it was.
Susan, I think you've already addressed this, but there was a comment from Terry. It says, what if declarer ducks the diamond, you lead, partner wins the queen, and then?
And
I
then,
think-
well, then when he continues a diamond, right? Then declarer is left with the ace and jack. If he plays the jack, I'll take the king, and now we've got our 2 diamond tricks. It doesn't help declarer to duck the first diamond. If he takes the ace, then he's left with the jack 3 sitting behind my king 10. If he ducks, then I can see 6 diamonds. That means there are 7 of them divided between my partner and the declarer. I know he has 6 spades and 2 clubs. Don't know for sure how many hearts and diamonds he has, but it's possible that he has 3 diamonds in his hand. If he ducks, we're still going to get 2 diamond tricks. Make sense? Okay.
Thank you.
You bet. We can talk. There are so many aspects to each one of these hands. I could practically spend a whole hour on all of them. I might put you all to sleep, but I could talk about them for an hour, I think. But I think we probably better move on to number 3 here. Okay, this auction is South opens a spade and North bids 1 no trump forcing, and now East doubles. East doubles. All right. What do you suppose that shows?
Hearts.
It should show hearts, but as you can see there, East has a big hand, and it does not have 4 hearts in it. But man, I'd really like to be in the auction, even though I have 3 cards, and I don't know at this point. 1 no trump forcing. I'm pretty sure that North doesn't have 3 spades, because if he did, he's either getting ready to show a 3-card limit raise by jumping to 3, or he has only 2 of them and he wants to show a minimum hand with only 2 spades in it. One of the 2. So East doubles. South now bids 3 spades. What kind of hand does South have? Is it a minimum opening hand? No. He didn't bid game, so it's not the 19 to 21 point job. And he didn't bid 2 no trump, which would be what he would need. He bid 3 spades. He has 6 spades, doesn't he? He's rebid spades without any support from his partner, so he has 6 spades. And he should have that invitational level hand, the hand with a total value of about 17 points. So, okay, I've got 2 hands up. Sherry, what's your question?
We didn't decide why East doubled.
Oh, well, because he has a whole gob of points.
Okay.
I would want to get into the auction too. Although, I mean, 1 no trump forcing, if North has 6 or 7 points, and I have as many points as I do, isn't it equally possible that East and West could have the contract rather than North and South? I have an opening hand myself, right? I have 13 points.
Yes.
And
That's what I was wondering, basically saying I have opening points.
yes, and this 1 no trump force, I mean, if it's an 11-point hand, well, we're not going to buy the contract. But if it's a 6 or 7-point hand, we should be able to compete for it. So I want to get in the auction. Is my shape perfect? No, it's not. But at this point, if my partner has anything at all, I would like for him to wake up and compete. But South then jumps to 3 spades. So opening hand is an understatement for the South hand. He has more than we originally thought. So, and then North raises to 4 with a hand worth 17, and I have 7 high card points and a doubleton. That's 8. 17 and 8 makes 25, and 25 may not be 26, but it's close enough, right? So I want to be in game here. Patty, did you have a question?
I think it's Sherry.
Well,
It
sure.
was
I just
kinda-
handed-
Yeah, it was kind of along the same lines, because
Okay.
it didn't appear like a double had enough points,
Well,
to-
it's an opening. Yeah, it's an opening hand.
but it's not the big double I thought had to
Well-
have 17 or shape. Or
Well,
you had
why would you think it's the big double here? Because we're still, I'm forcing my partner to bid at the 2 level, which is basically what a takeout double does, the 1 or 2
It-
level.
and that's just because it's in the, like, your opponents have bid and answered because you're in the 4th seed that you
Yes.
can double. Because
Well, this is not
you
a
wouldn't do
balance.
that. You wouldn't do that if you were sitting in West.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that in the direct seat, but now that we know that they don't have necessarily have a fit in spades, if there's a chance, I would like for my partner to bid his best suit to me. I mean, you know, I've got 3-card support for all of the unbid suits and I have a full opening hand.
Okay.
I mean, I could pass. And if South has a regular old 2-spade bid, then I'm kicking myself for not doubling to try to get my partner to bid because I have an opening hand. But once he bids 3 spades, that kind of says bye-bye to East and West playing the hand.
Thank you.
You bet. You bet. Mhm. All right. Now then, the opening lead is the Queen of Hearts. And we're looking at the dummy. He's decided to overtake with the king. And now you have to decide what to do. Now you have to decide what to do. What card are we going to play at trick 2? And there's even an option in there that says, I would not have overtaken. I'd have let my partner hold the trick. Would that have been the right move? If so, why? Or why did you overtake? What is the advantage here that you're going to gain from overtaking?
Well, I would think that that makes you get your ace and king of hearts before the dummy gets void in the heart suit.
Well, that's possible. That's possible. What would I like for my partner to lead? Have any thoughts about that? This hand to
Clubs.
me, as I'm looking at it, and I see the shortness in hearts, we're only going to get 2 heart tricks, even though my partner had the queen and I had the ace king. We're only going to get 2 tricks. Am I going to get a trick with a queen of diamonds? Not terribly likely, maybe. Am I going to get a trick in the trump suit? No, not at all. I have a flat hand, so I'm not going to get a ruff. And I have itty bitty spot cards. So it looks to me like, I mean, my king of clubs is eminently finessable. So let's think about this for a minute. They're in a game contract and I'm holding 13 points. How many points does my partner have?
One or two.
Yeah,
Yep.
not very many. He's not guaranteed any. He could have 2, maybe 2 jacks, or he led the queen of hearts. Maybe he has the queen jack. He should have the queen jack of hearts, maybe, or the queen doubleton of hearts. Although typically that's not something I lead on opening lead. He led hearts because that double told him most likely my partner has hearts over there because he doubled a spade bid. So let's think for a minute. We're going to get 2 hearts. I can see 8 clubs, and I can see a very strong possibility that we might get one club. If we get 2 hearts and 1 club, is that, I mean, I'm not seeing much of a good way to set this contract. Does that mean that I should just sit back and let the declarer play whatever? looks to me like he's going to have a pretty good shot at making an over trick. Because I mean, he knows where all the high card points are. My double told him that. It's what I hate about bidding, but I mean, if you don't get in the bidding, you're not going to do very well in this game. I mean, you have to bid your hand appropriately. And if that gives away some information, well, maybe the declarer is good enough to figure it out. Maybe he's not. But I'm looking at this hand thinking that, oh, I don't know. What do we think? What do you think a switch to the clubs would do?
Well, the
Does your
ace,
partner have the ace of clubs?
no,
No.
the declarer, you want your partner to lead clubs through the declarer. So if you do the 3 of hearts, you're assuming that your partner has the queen jack. He would take it with a jack, and you're signaling to lay a low suit.
Well, that is certainly one possibility. We know we don't want to lead a club. Pretty sure that a diamond is just going to give the declarer a free finesse, right? We know we're going to get 2 heart tricks. But let's look at this hand. In this kind of a situation, East needs to make a passive return, which means he can either return a trump or he can return a heart. Either one. If he wants to lead the ace, well, then as soon as he takes the ace, well, now he has the same problem he had before. You'll have your 2 heart tricks, and then you can lead a trump and hope that declarer plays the ace of clubs and then leads toward the queen, and you can get the king. Because we've already figured out, let's think about this for a minute. The likelihood that your partner has the jack of hearts isn't very great, because that would give him 3 points. And that means there would be only 24 points between 24 high card points. That's entirely possible, but South has 6 spades in his hand. He may have the jack of hearts. He may not. If he returns a club, you can certainly drive out the ace with the jack or the 10, because declarer's not going to play the queen. I mean, he just isn't. If he does, you'll cover it for sure. But what I'm looking to do here is just play passively, because it looks to me like if I do anything very aggressive, like lead a small club or lead a small diamond, that declarer is going to make an over trick. Now, why am I not talking about a hand where I can set the contract? Isn't that the whole object of these defense lessons? Well, I'm here to tell you that many times you can get a good score by holding the declarer to contract. If nearly every other declarer in the room makes an over trick and you've held your opponents to contract, you're going to get a good score. So it's not always all about setting the contract, but taking as many tricks as you possibly can. Sometimes it's just not in the cards for you to set a hand. It just isn't. But you can still get a good score by not helping the declarer make an over trick, or even 2. Switching to a minor suit here would virtually guarantee that the declarer is going to make an over trick. And a lot of people might lead a low club saying, oh, if my partner has the ace of clubs, he can return a club back to the queen, and we can get all kinds of tricks and all of this. Your partner cannot possibly have the ace of clubs. It's just totally outside the realm of possibility if North and South are competent bidders. You know your opponents better than I do, but assuming they're competent, your partner doesn't have the ace of clubs. Most likely, the only thing he has in his hand is the queen of hearts. So he has to play passively here. That means either return a trump or play a heart and then return a trump. Up to you, either one. And I don't know if you want to let West hold the trick, that's fine. I would wonder whether my partner has a doubleton. Not likely. I only see 5 of them here, and I know that South doesn't have 4 hearts, or he'd have bid hearts at his second turn. So let's give him 3. Then my partner probably has 5 hearts in his hand.
Yeah.
So, in this case, you want to lead passively. That would be either a heart or a spade. Either one, not one of those minors.
My question, I have a question here. My question is, if we let the West win, West would know that we have the ace and king, because otherwise, why the South doesn't take it?
Well, yeah, your partner will know that you have the ace and king of hearts, even
So
though
the
you,
partner can play again.
well, maybe, but the thing is, if I play the 3, that's a discouraging attitude signal. That's I would probably take the king, and then knowing my partner doesn't have anything, and I'm caught between a kind of a weak dummy and a very strong hand. So, you don't have to win the first trick, but a lot of people would. A lot of people would. So,
Because if a partner win and play return heart again, I take it, and then we left with ace or king. And the second thing is, most likely our partner West has 5 hearts. Why and small ones? Why do they open with the heart of queen?
because he's thinking that I have hearts because I doubled. It's not an absolute given that partner has 5 hearts. It is possible that declarer has 4 hearts and just decided that rather than showing the second suit, maybe it's a kind of a weakish suit. It is a weakish suit. If
No,
partner,
but why open the queen and not a lower spot card?
yeah, I mean, he's missing the ace, king, and queen. A lot of times I overlook a 4-card major if it's really weak and I have a good strong 6-card major suit. I will rebid it rather than, plus he's got a good way of showing that invitational hand by leaping to 3 spades. If he just bids 2 hearts, this looks like a common garden variety opening hand with 5 spades and 4 hearts in it, if declarer does that. But here,
Sorry, I think the question was, why does West open queen of hearts instead of a lower hearts?
well, good question. I don't know.
Yeah.
He promises the jack when he leads the queen, and that's possible. But remember, we have figured out that he has virtually no points in his hand. He may think that, hey, my partner has hearts, and I'm going to show him that I have a heart card here for him. I probably would not lead the queen of hearts. I would lead low from if I had the queen as well. Leading the queen just 99.9% of the time should promise the jack. But if your partner has 3 points in his hand, as I said, it begins to get into the realm of they bid on distribution rather than totally high card points. Kind of makes sense a little bit, maybe. Anyway, the whole idea behind this hand is to defend passively. And this happens very often when you have one hand that is strong, like the south hand, and another hand that's relatively weak, like the north hand. This is particularly true in 2 club auctions. When you have a hand that's very, very strong and another one that's pretty weak, you want to defend passively. Okay, this is a hand from way long time ago. And it doesn't work to use a transfer. I tried putting in a transfer with this hand, And it just doesn't work well because you have to have the lead coming up to the declarer's hand that has the spades in it. So let's just pretend that we don't know about transfers here for a few minutes. So North opens 1 no trump and South bids 4 spades. That just basically means, hey, I have 6 spades over here and I have enough for game, and this is where I want to play it. Your partner leads the Jack of Hearts, covered by the Queen, and you take the ace. What are we going to do now? What are we going to do now? Looks pretty much to me like this contract is cold, folks, doesn't it to you? If I get the ace of hearts, probably get the king of diamonds, probably get a club trick. Once again, I have 11 points and they're in game. My partner's busted again. He has 3 points. And we know what they are, right? Well, we know he has the jack. He may have an outlying queen or another jack or two, but that's it. So I don't believe we should count on partner for a trick here. So this is another instance where maybe we need to try just to hold the declarer to contract. But how could declarer get an over trick here? What would we lead that would give him an over trick? Oh, I'm sorry, that bottom suit there in the north hand should have been a club instead of another diamond. What I do to produce a club is very similar to what I do to produce a diamond, and I hit the wrong key there. That should be queen 10 7 of clubs in the north hand. We're not going to get another heart trick. If I lead a small diamond, what happens?
Hoping our partner has the queen.
Partner might have it, but if he doesn't, I've just given the declarer another over trick, right?
Yep.
How about if I lead a small club? Your partner have the ace of clubs?
No.
No, definitely not.
Nope, he can't. So leading a small card in a minor suit is a really aggressive lead, isn't it? Under leading kings like that. There's no indication that we particularly need to be aggressive because partner doesn't have any tricks. And if I lead a small minor suit card, I am conceding a trick to the declarer that he doesn't deserve. So my best course of action, at least the way I see it, is either to return another heart or return a spade. Once again, a passive lead. I mean, declarer is going to get that king of hearts no matter what you do. He's going to get it. Partner has the 10, which will force the king, and if declarer has the 9, now all of a sudden he has control of the 3rd round. We're not sure about where the 9 is because against a suit contract, sequence leads only promise 2. So partner has the 10, may or may not have the 9. So my best bet here, to my mind, is return a trump. Just return a trump. That's usually a very passive lead. It looks for all the world to me like, I mean, this is a maximum no trump. And they have 9 trumps between them. It looks to me like we can't set it. Once again, that's not always the object, though. So here you want to play passively again and lead either a spade or a heart. My choice would be a spade, but a heart's not horrible. Let's see if I can get these last two in here. Ah, here's a good one. South open 2 spades and North raised to 4 spades. And your partner led the Jack of diamonds. Who has the queen?
South.
Yes, Declarer has the queen. Absolutely. That's why you have to put the king on there. You see that singleton in the dummy, just like everybody else. So now there's a singleton in the dummy. So in general, we don't want to let Declarer trump in the short trump hand. So what are we going to lead? This fellow has 14 high card points, and then that singleton diamond. And he has 4 card spade support. I mean, this is a fine hand for bidding game on. What is the defense's only chance? You think you're going to get a heart trick? If your partner has the king of hearts, it's dead in the water, isn't it? It is just totally dead. If he has the jack of hearts, it's dead in the water. So we're not likely to get a heart trick. We're not going to get another diamond trick. And I think the likelihood that we're going to get a trump trick is 0. My partner has 1 trump at the very most, and that's it. So what does that leave? Could my partner have the ace of clubs? He might, mightn't he? Depends on how many points South had when he preempted. If he only has 6 or 7 points, then it's entirely possible that my partner could have the ace of clubs. What if we can take a diamond and 3 club tricks? That would do it, wouldn't it? How about if I return the 2 of clubs? Partner will have to put up the ace or Declarer wins the queen. And then now if he returns a club back, I have the king jack sitting over the queen 8. Depending on how many clubs my partner has, we have a good chance of getting 3 club tricks. And the only way we can get 3 club tricks is if my partner leads through that queen and the dummy. And the only way that I can see to get to his hand is if he has the ace of clubs. If Declarer has the ace of clubs, we're never beating it. We can't beat it. But if my partner has the ace of clubs, then he can take the ace of clubs and boy, he better return a club back to me. That's right then. If he doesn't have a heart on her and he's hoping that I do, and I just wasn't in a good place to lead it, well, that's not going to be great. But by leading a small club implies that you have an honor and would like to have it returned. So if I lead the 2 of clubs over to the ace and he leads a club back, then no matter which one of those cards Declarer calls for, I can take 2 more club tricks to go along with the king of diamonds. And we have set the contract. So in this case, we have to get our tricks. And the only way, because I can see that the heart suit is going to work out well for the Declarer, the only way that we can do that is by getting our tricks from the only source of tricks we have, and that is the club suit. And I have to lead low because I have to keep the king over the queen. If I lead the queen, or if I lead the king, then Declarer automatically gets a trick with the queen. So I have to lead low. Declarer has the ace of clubs and he lets it ride around. Oh, well, I may have given away an extra chance there to make the bid. And let's see if I can get this last one in here really quickly. Here we go. Well, I failed to put the auction up there, didn't I? We're in 3 no trump. That's it. Yeah. I couldn't figure out a really great auction for these hands on how they would get to 3 no trump. But your partner leads the 3 of diamonds. Of course, declarer calls for the king. You take the ace. Declarer played the 4. So, what do we think? Which card should East lead now? First off, how many tricks can you see that the declarer has? You can see 2 spades, right? You can see 1 diamond. And since you have the king of clubs, you can see 5 clubs. What does that add up to? 9? Uh-oh. Declarer has enough tricks now that if I let him get the lead before we can take our tricks, he's going to make it. He's going to make it. So I can see from the dummy that even if my partner has the jack, that it's not going to do any good. And in fact, declarer can lead toward the queen 10 later on and take an extra trick. This is just the way it is. Let's consider option number 1 first, the 3 of spades. That's a give up lead, isn't it? You see the ace and king on the board, so that's just basically conceding that the declarer has the trick. Leading a diamond, another give up lead. Your partner doesn't have the king, you can see it. Leading a club is, well, you have 4 of them, but goodness gracious. It's not like declarer has a lack of entries to the board. If you lead a club and he takes it, well, so what if he only has 1 club in his hand? He has entries in spades and diamonds both to be able to get there. So what does that leave? Looking at the dummy, as I've said at least 1,000 times, dummy on the right lead the weakest suit in sight. That weak suit is the heart suit. We have pretty much eliminated the other 3. So if I'm sitting in that east chair, I'm going to put the 2 of hearts on the table because we have to get active. This is a hand where we absolutely have to defend actively because you can see 9, declarer has 9 tricks now. Now that the ace of diamonds is out of the way, he has 9 tricks right there for the taking. Doesn't matter that he loses the king of clubs. As soon as he wins a trick, he's going to take that club finesse. And even if you duck around, he can just lead on the board, be on the board and keep leading clubs until you have to take your king. And then he still has entries. So it doesn't matter if you duck the first finesse. So if you lead the 2 of hearts, if South ducks it around to the west hand, West will win the king. Okay, he returns a heart. East's queen drives out the ace, and now when the club finesse is taken, you and partner can take 2 more heart tricks to defeat the contract. You get 3 hearts, 1 diamond, and 1 club. Just enough. You'll be amazed how often it is right when you look at the dummy and you see a weak suit to lead that suit. The reason we switch is partner cannot possibly have a trick to win in diamonds. So pursuing diamonds is fruitless. A club just finesses yourself, and spades don't get you anywhere. And if you stop to count declarer's tricks, you know you have to develop the heart suit enough that when you get in with the king of clubs, you'll be able to take 2 more heart tricks to set the contract. This requires a little thinking, doesn't it? But the information is all right there. You just have to learn not only to ask the right questions, but then apply the answers. And you'll be surprised once you learn how to adjust your thinking this way, how your results will improve. Hi, this is Susan. Thanks for watching this video today. Most of these videos come from our free bridge lessons that we present on Zoom every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Central Time. If you'd like to join us for those lessons, you can email us at the address shown below and we'll send you the link. If you can't attend the lessons, then feel free to subscribe to our channel and you'll be notified when there is a new one added. Again, thanks for stopping by and we hope to see you soon.